Welcome to 2Cents FC. I'm your host, Amobi Okugo. Each week, we'll be discussing topics from around the soccer world, and I'll be giving my thoughts from the perspective of a pro soccer player. We got my guy L on the mic, and this week we got a special guest, Cleopatra Nketiah, lawyer and owner of Ridge City FC. As you guys know, we go through a number of topics. This week, we'll be discussing wild ownership shenanigans, sports business moves, specifically in the Italian Serie A. And as you guys know, our favorite segment, no card, yellow card, red card. But back to Cleopatra. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm good. And again, thanks for having me.
So, L told me about you, and he told me about you coming on the podcast, and I didn't really know much about you. And when he told me that you're like an owner for a club, I was like, oh, this is big time. So tell us your story, because I'm very intrigued.
Okay, so I want to say it's a short story, but it really isn't. I love football. It's as simple as that, but the story is it's like nowhere as short as that. I've loved football all my life. I've told people that I used to play football in my mom's room. I came out kicking. Unfortunately for me, obviously, I'm a girl or I'm a woman, and it hasn't been easy for women to play football, especially in Ghana, because football in Ghana is viewed as like a thing for men and a game for like uneducated women or people who didn't have the opportunity to go to school. So it's been very difficult for me. I've had several occasions where I've had to choose between school and football. And unfortunately for me, I had to choose school because, like I said, the environment that I'm coming from. But that never stopped me from actually doing what I wanted to do. I won like best footballer of the year, best sports person of the year in my school from high school through to university. So I don't think that people not really liking women playing football has really stopped me that much. I actually moved from Ghana to the UK for about 8 years, and I played football whilst I was in uni there studying law. So I actually took up football, and I played football for at least 3 years. I played football in my uni there, and then afterwards I joined like a local club. And I always brag about this, but we won our local FA Cup.
Okay.
And I was actually voted the most improved player, which was saying something, because if you had seen me at the beginning of the season, you'd wonder what I'm doing playing football. But so unfortunately I had to leave the UK and come back to Ghana and to obviously work. And whilst I was in Ghana, I kind of realized that I really missed playing football and I wanted to like participate in football. And even for somebody like me who really loves football, it was very difficult for me to find women who enjoyed football or played football in the way that I preferred to play, which was sort of not really like in the league, but like for fun. And everywhere I turned around, league, and it wasn't really organized in a way that I could participate in because they were playing like during the daytime and during times that I couldn't play because I was at work. Mm-hmm. So I decided to myself that what can I do to change my circumstances? What can I do to participate in football? And I said to myself that I think, well, start your own football club. So it really started off as a club for people who wanted to play football but couldn't play in the league or couldn't play in like an organized fashion. And we started, and then by the end of year one, we had to join the league because the girls were too good. And we just couldn't be playing and hiding in a little corner and just having a little fun. We had to like go big time. Mm-hmm. So we registered to play in the women's league, starting from the season from last year. But unfortunately, I don't know if you guys know much about football in Ghana, but we were hit by a major corruption scandal. And the GFA, which is the Ghana Football Association, the GFA president was caught in a bribery scandal. And it shut football down in the country for an entire year. So we only picked football back up November, December of last year. And that's when it actually started back up again. And for my club, we're currently in the Division 1 because we just started out. And we had our first match the weekend the president shut down the country for coronavirus pandemic. And we were all like super disappointed because we had been training for like 2 years. And the girls were raring to go. Everybody was all good to go. We had taken all these team shots. We were like about to just hit big time, and then all of this happened. So I have said to myself, and my players laugh at me all the time because for some strange reason, because I started a football club, my players think I'm this elderly old lady, probably in her 40s or 50s. I'm in my 30s, but my girls don't think so because most of them are in like their teens and like early 20s. And every time I tell them that I am playing with them during the tournament, they all just burst out laughing. And I don't think they've seen my moves enough because I train with them all the time. And I might brag and say I'm probably the leading goal scorer in the club because I don't know what is happening. But during training sessions, I'm a striker, so I really don't know what they're talking about. But I enjoy playing, and I don't think I'm about to stop playing. And thank God I have my own football club because now I can dictate when and for how long I play football. So that's part of the great thing of having your own football club. But I'm loving it. I'm loving every second of it. I don't regret it one bit. I'm actually a lawyer, and I quit my day job. I quit being a lawyer. Well, not quit being a lawyer, but I quit the law firm I was working for, started my own law firm, and I bankroll the club from the proceeds of my law work. So
Oh,
that's
I love
that's
that.
pretty much going well for me. But I mean, one thing that I can say is that I haven't been able to do this by myself. I don't think I could have done all of this by myself. I have a partner, Cyril Alex Gokko. He's the co-owner of the club with me, and we just manage it as much as we can. And he loves women's football as much as I do. So I'm happy to have him on board. And I think that like something super is about to happen for women's football in Ghana. So looking forward to that.
No, this
Yeah.
is amazing, and there's so much to unpack.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
one question I have right off the back is: so if you're having a bad game, are you
Yeah.
subbing yourself out? Like, how does that work?
Listen, I don't know what subbing means, okay? I'm just not gonna come off. But we have had like friendlies, we play with like clubs, and I have told them to feel free to sub me out. It's
Okay.
just what you get when you try to sub me out. It's different from what we talked about before the game. So it's like you have to come up. I'm like, okay, we'll talk about this later. Okay,
We'll
cool.
talk about this later.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
talk-
but I have told them to put me in towards the end of the game. So I don't think the subbing comes often. So yeah.
okay. So talk about the process of like building a team from the ground
Yeah.
up, because we see
Yeah.
a lot of organizations or like people like wanting to get into ownership
Yeah.
for soccer. Like,
Yeah.
what's that process like?
Yeah. So for us in Ghana, it's completely different. Well, not too complete, but the standards for starting the women's football club, it's almost low or non-existent. Like I could say there's no standard for starting a women's football club. If you woke up one day and said, listen, I think I want to start a women's football club, that's all. That's all you need to do in terms of starting a football club in Ghana. We have club licensing rules which dictate how a person can start a football club. But for women's football in Ghana, because nobody really cares about it, and because of all the troubles that we're going through, they don't really care about the standards. As long as you register the entity at the company's registry that is registering the company, and then having the players and then registering with the Ghana Football Association, that's pretty much the bar. And so you have a lot of people registering women's football clubs. And it's sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, because anybody gets up and then says, I want to train women's football, have a women's football club. And then they manipulate girls into joining their clubs that are sometimes not going anywhere. So that's the bad part about it. But the good part is that it's not difficult to start a women's football club. So anybody who has asked about starting a football club, I've always encouraged them to do it, because we do need more teams and we do need a lot of people to like give girls an avenue, an opportunity to play football, because there are a lot of girls that want to play and they're not getting the chance that they can play in. Most of the girls play football in school, and by the time you hit like your teenage years, you're getting teased for being a tomboy, or getting teased for playing around with boys all the time. So some people drop out. But those who don't drop out are people who are just determined, and some of them have nothing to drop out from because they're already not in school. But it's not really a difficult process to start a women's football club. The maintenance of a women's football club, however, is a different topic, because women's football in Ghana, well, football in Ghana generally, but for women's football, I can narrow it down and tell you that we have two categories of players in Ghana. We have the amateur players, and then we have professional players. So the amateur players are sort of playing for fun. They don't expect to get paid. Most of them play in the Division One or the grassroots level. But the professional players, you have to get into a contract with them, an agreement with them, and you have to pay them. Mm-hmm. So those are the two differences. But the difference. But unfortunately, most of the players who play in the Women's Premier League and have signed professional contracts aren't getting paid. And that's really bad. However, the upside to it is most of the people who get into women's football in Ghana are doing it sort of like a charity base. They're not expecting anything back. So they don't have that much to give to the ladies. So asking them to pay salaries is just going to blow everything out of proportion, because they have to manage the club, manage the girls, at least take care of them in a certain way. And to have to pay them a salary as well is just going to push things over the edge. So amateur clubs, we don't have to. Like my club is also an amateur club. Well, okay. We are in an amateur league, so we don't expect to pay the players. But if we have to move to the Premier League, then we'd have to do that. So get the different levels dictate like how you manage your club. And the women in the Premier League, they are held to a higher standard. So at least you expect to pay the players, have a place for them to like train, etc. So it's different for the Premier League. But the maintenance of women's football is not as easy as when you start a club. But
Okay.
I mean, we're trying and we're managing and seeing how best we can get through this process without the help that could have come. So yeah,
No, that's amazing. And
yeah,
as an owner, as you look at the ecosystem of your club, your
yeah,
ownership within the league, within Ghana Federation,
yeah,
how do you go about, whether it's raising money with your partner,
yeah,
handling amateur and then possibly evolving to a professional like
yeah.
uh, division club where you have to pay the players? How do you go about that?
Yeah, so finding sponsorship in Ghana is very difficult. Even the men's Premier League barely has sponsorship. But when they did, it was good. I think they had like a $10 million deal for over 5 years or so. So it was a good deal. And if they are suffering, you can just imagine the women's side. So the women's Premier League currently, as it stands today, we don't have a title sponsor. It's called the Ghana Women's Premier League. We have a sponsor, and what that sponsor does is like provide the girls with like player of the match, player of the month, coach of the month, and then they give them like mobile phones, etc. But you're not seeing them sponsoring us saying we are giving you guys money, we're helping you with this, we're giving you kits. Like it's not like that, and that's what is needed. As much as I'm happy that there's somebody giving their time and their money to give me mobile phones, to the girls and stuff, Player of the Month award does not help the league. It only
No.
helps that one player. And I've seen one player since the league started before the coronavirus started. I've seen them pick like three player of the match awards. It's not really helping anybody. And so I wish that if sponsors were coming in, they would do something that would help the entire league. But in terms of sponsorship and having help, it's been very, very difficult. My team, for example, we know what we are trying to do and we know what we are looking for. And we said to ourselves that we know we're not going to get much help from outside. So we are working hard in our external businesses. My partner Cyril, he's an entrepreneur. He has like a marketing and advertising company. He does like so much in the marketing industry. So he has at least a financial background to help the team. And I'm a lawyer as well. So every time, I'd say every time, but it's more often than every time. It's ridiculous the number of times a client has paid me and the money has gone straight into the club. But that's the only way to sustain the club. And I don't even regret it one bit. Every time I'm spending on the club, it's like I'm sad about it a little bit, but it's like one of the happiest things that I ever do because I know that I'm building something in the future. It's going to reap rewards. So funding is very, very difficult to come by in Ghana. And we did try and make attempts to like talk to people to sponsor the club. But the one thing that you keep hearing back is, oh, there's a women's league in Ghana. And
Yeah.
it's like continuous. Like nobody even knows women play football in Ghana. The only thing they know about women's football is that we have the Black Queens, which is the national team. And then we have like the under 17s and all of that. But it's like they haven't even heard that women play a league. And
No.
even if they've heard about that, they've heard about the Premier League. They haven't heard about Division One. People do not think that there's even a Division One, let alone grassroots football. So it's very difficult to convince people who haven't even heard about you to invest in you because they're like, if I haven't even heard about you, why would I give you my money to go promote my stuff? You're not really helping me in any way. And that's the kind of roadblock that we've been hitting. So we've just resigned to just footing the bill for right now. But I mean, over the last few months, and especially when the coronavirus started, and a lot of people had time to sit down and pay attention to what was happening around them, we've seen some interest in women's football. It's not really a financial interest, but at least an interest to be interested in participating in what we are doing. We have people trying to broadcast our matches. We have people trying to like engage with the girls and then trying to see how they can participate in the world. But I think that they still need information. They still need some help to understand what's really happening in women's football to see how they can get in. I'm pretty much very hopeful that by the time the year is over, we'd have seen some sort of engagement concerning funding coming in because I don't no, we didn't talk about it, but I'm actually I'm part of the GFA. So I'm actually the Women's Premier League committee. I am a board member. So basically we manage the Women's Premier League in Ghana. So all
That's
the decisions that come out of the Women's Premier League, we are supposed to be responsible for it. So that's one. And I'm also a board member of the Women's Division 1 committee. So I manage both the Premier League and the Division One. And I've seen the problems that both leagues have. And to be honest with you, it's all about money. But it's not money too, because you can't get money unless you're doing something good to get people's attention. And you
Yeah.
can't do something good to get people's attention unless you have some money to help you to get to that stage. So it's crazy. And the women's Division One are complaining that they don't have attention, and the women's Premier League are complaining that they don't have money.
Yeah.
So it's like, whose problem do you want? Do you want the no attention problem, or do you want the no money problem? Either way, it's very difficult to do anything because from all angles, it's crazy. So we do need the attention coming to women's football so that at least the current owners or people who are participating in football can get a chance to help the girls. And we did get that kind of help because the government recently, we have a department in the government called the Youth Employment Agency. So they are supposed to employ the youth. So during this pandemic, they decided to quote unquote employ the Premier League players. And in that capacity, they are able to pay the players. So during this pandemic, when the club owners for the Premier League are not being able to manage paying the players and taking care of the players, the government has decided for the next 6 months to pay the players, which effectively takes the burden of the club owners to pay the players. So that's very good. And I don't see why it shouldn't continue. I think it's something that should continue because they should make an allowance for women in sports slash football players because that really helps. So hopefully these kind of allowances come about and it helps the club owners because if we can do that for the girls, they will stay longer in the game and they'll play with their hearts and then we'll see where we're going. So I'm really hoping that it gets easier for us. But I mean, like I keep saying the whole time, I can't complain much about this. So we keep going.
No, it's
Yeah.
amazing, and we can hear your passion as you speak
Yeah.
about your team and the
Yeah.
future of Ghana sports, especially specifically soccer for women.
Yeah.
Where do you see it going? As more resources come into the
Yeah.
women's game in Ghana,
Yeah.
you guys may finally catch up to the Super
Yeah.
Eagles.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So I know you say that because you're Nigerian, so I'm not going to say anything about that negative to you. I'm going to let that one slide. Probably because sometimes it may be true, but I'll let it slide. But I'm glad that the Women's Champions League is being started next year. It's going to give you a chance to put your mouth where your money is or put your money where your mouth is. I don't know which one it is, but I'd like to see the women's club level compete against Ghana's women's club level. And then we can see what really happens on the ground.
No
But
worries.
yeah, I do think that Ghana women's football is just at the beginning of an amazing and fantastic journey because if this journey has started a long time ago, we don't know where we'll be by now. But from where I'm sitting, I can see how far it's going to go. I can see the interest that is coming both locally and internationally. And as I was saying, because of the coronavirus pandemic, a lot of people have started to give attention to it. The new GFA president, well, he's not new anymore because he's been around for almost a year now, since last October. He's taken these steps and he's taken these measures to pay attention to women's game. It wasn't really like that before. And like I'm saying, if the previous GFA government was doing something, people would know about the Women's Premier League and the Women's Division One. But the new president is actually taking steps to make sure that women's football gets the attention that it needs. And this is coming at the right time where internationally everybody's paying attention to women's football. So I think that the only thing that we can do is take advantage of this time, take advantage of everything that's happening, and then just try and push it and go as far as we can go. We have collaborated with the GFA has collaborated with the England FA, and they are trying to see how best they can help. Obviously, they can't just throw money at us, so they have to see how best they can help us with our grassroots football and with building and seeing how best we can do. So the relationship has just started. We are just about maybe like a month or two into the relationship, and we're trying to see how best they can help. But we have to look up to like what they are doing in the States, what they are doing in the UK, and then try and emulate it because they have been through so much. Their leagues have started and stopped several times. In the UK, the Women's Premier League started and stopped like 1,000 times. In the US as well, the Women's Soccer National League, or whatever they call it, it's like dissolved several times. Luckily for us, for the women's own in Ghana, it hasn't really dissolved. It's just been on the down low for like 10 years now, but it hasn't really dissolved. And that's the good thing about our league. And so we have to learn from their mistakes, see what they did best, where they went wrong, and then just figure out how to do the same thing without making their same mistakes. And the number one thing is getting interest, people interested in paying attention to the women's soccer. And I think that obviously now it's a bit too early. Maybe next year we might have the Nigerian teams maybe dominating Ghana when it comes to the Champions League. But I can assure you that in 2 to 3 years' time, I don't even know if they'll give you guys slots because there's too many teams in Ghana making it so competitive that we might just hand over like one slot or so to you guys and then see what happens. But I am looking forward to seeing what happens. Hopefully, hopefully Race City will be in the Premier League by then, and we can get a chance. And maybe you can see me score a goal in the Champions League and take my shirt off and into the Meow Hound thing or whatever it is. But I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. So yeah.
No, that's what
Yeah.
it's all about. And one last question, speaking on ownership, you've been able
Yeah.
to, meet with so many different people, experience, you're on a number of different boards, you went to
Yeah.
uni. Um, is there any specific team that you like follow that you want to emulate? Is any specific owner, favorite player that you
Yeah.
follow?
For which league?
Any league, worldwide.
Okay. So I'm a Chelsea FC fan.
Okay,
So
we're
my
friends
attention
again.
is
We're
always
friends
on
again.
Chelsea. Yeah.
Okay,
So
respect.
yeah, my mind is always there all the time. I don't think L is happy about that because he probably lost his best player. I'm happy about that, but hey. So I follow a lot of what they do over there, and I don't think there's any one particular that I wish to emulate because all the teams in the UK, especially, are on some same level footing that is crazy. They're all going together in some style that, if we can do that together the way they are doing it in Ghana, I think they will probably shoot up to a different level very, very soon. There's some players I'm happy about the fact that for the women's league in the UK, I'm happy about the fact that last season Chelsea bought Samantha, who is the biggest Australian players, and she's now playing for Chelsea. But I'm also mainly pay attention to the women's US soccer team, and obviously, like they are the players that everybody knows a lot about. I think I like a lot of the way Alex Morgan plays. I think I really enjoy that. And a lot of my girls, I keep telling them, listen, what we have to do is just keep watching what other people are doing because these are the people who have done it before us. There's no need for us to be out here making our own silly and little mistakes. Let's see what else other people are doing, and let's see the best that we can do for ourselves. There's this club on Instagram which I follow. I think it's called Tudelo. I keep forgetting the name. Tudelo FC. Also, they are in California, and they are a football club. I think that maybe there's other football clubs around. I think that do the same thing, but they are the ones that I've seen, and they are training their girls on a different level. Like they post these videos of how they're training the girls to dribble, to tackle, to do all sort of tricks on the pitch, and then they show the next part of the video is the parts where they actually went out and during a game they did those things.
Oh, that's really
And
good.
out here, exactly. So out here, we have the girls training and trying to play it, like rehearsing to play a match or training to play a match. And then we get out there, and it's a different story. They're doing different things than what you said. But then I watch that club, and they are doing exactly what they are being trained to do. And I really wish that we could reach out to them, talk to them, see, like, I need to understand what they are doing. Because like I'm saying, I know that there's probably clubs out there that are doing it, but they are the only club I have seen who are doing it so perfectly that if I could probably steal their coach or whatever it is, I would do it. If I could lower them to Ghana, if I could lower the entire team to Ghana, I would do it. Yeah, they're not like a women's football. I think they are girls. I think they are between the ages of like probably like 5 to like 18 or whatever. They are
Okay,
young.
so like
And
a
I
youth
really,
club.
really, yeah. I'll try and find the page. Every time I keep mixing their name with Tornado. I don't know why I keep doing that, but I think it's Tudelo FC or something. That's what I think. They're on Instagram. I'll try and find the page and then maybe we can post it sometime. But they are like the best team so far that I've seen that I wish that my club could emulate. Of course, I enjoy watching women's football and all the teams around. I think are doing an amazing job. But in terms of what I've seen behind the scenes, if I could model my club after anybody, they are the ones that I'd like super. I'd probably change the club's name just to be like them. It's crazy. Yeah.
No, perfect. Respect. And thank you so much for sharing. We're
Yeah.
definitely interested in if you can send us that, we'll definitely figure out a
Yeah.
way to share more about that. But with that
Yeah.
being said, let's talk about some other things. El, what you got for us this week?
Yeah, I did have one quick question,
Yeah.
like about the development in the
Yeah.
country. So, what's the development infrastructure like? Are there like a lot of academies around
Yeah.
that are like taking some of these talented players and developing them and getting them sold off to European countries?
Yeah.
And is there a push to kind of keep some of that talent, in
Yeah.
Ghana and like really build up the local leagues?
Yeah. So that's one of the biggest problems that we have in Ghana. We don't have enough people training women to develop women's football in Ghana. So what we have is we have, I don't want to call them opportunists, but that's what they are. We have people who set up an academy and then get girls from all over the country and then train them in hopes of trading them or selling them to like other countries or other like leagues or clubs. And you see a lot of those. Uh, um, Technically, if you go to the GFA, there are about 90 registered football clubs in Ghana in the Premier League for the women, in the Premier League and Division One, roughly about 90. However, there are an awful lot because we have people who don't actually go to the company's house and register the entity. We have people who just wake up one day and I want to start a football team. I'm doing Justified. Everybody come on down. And then they have some money or something, and then they load the girls in and they just pretend to be doing whatever it is that they want to do with the girls. And so you have a lot of stories. A lot of my players have come to my club going like, I was with this club, weren't even training, weren't even doing anything, we're doing nothing. And that is the problem. So if at least we could get past that problem of people not actually helping when they are saying they help, if we could get that past that problem, I think that we could get to the actual solution, which is having academies or institutions that actually train the players. Now, in order not to be caught out by fakers or people pretending to help, everybody wants to play for like a registered Division One club or a Premier League club or the national team or something. So because of that, the competition is very high. So you can have like 5,000 girls trying to play for only about 90 clubs. And that's impossible because you can only have probably like 30, 40 players on the team. And it's crazy. So we need to find a way to properly develop women's football in Ghana. There are academies, but I don't see academies that are like doing something like, oh my God, apart from the clubs that are already doing their own training. I think that that's one serious problem. And because of that, we don't get girls going through the system, training hard enough to compete against the Nigerians and then the US national team. If I'm a Ghanaian, and I hate to say this, but at any point in time, if the Black Queens should play against the US women's national team, we will be happy to live with a 10-0 loss. We will be, because that's probably the lowest amount that we will get. Because I don't think that we are organized enough and training the girls enough to compete on a higher level. And that's why it's been difficult for us to feature at some of the World Cups that have happened. I think over the last 20 years, we've only been to like 2 or 3 World Cups or so, which is not good at all. We weren't even featured at the last World Cup. And it's something that it all depends, it starts from development. So I think that we aren't doing the best we can do in terms of developing the girls. But I'm hoping that when the coronavirus is off, when things start to get better, we can try to put together plans to fix that. It's going to be a long and difficult journey, but we have to start. We have to start. Even if we can't compete within the next 5 to 10 years, at least I'm hoping that from maybe after 5 years, we should see some improvement in women's football in Ghana. But yeah.
Okay. Are there any like youth teams out there, or kind of small pitched 5-on-5 leagues and things like that?
Yeah. So my club, for example, we do that. So what I'm trying to do is trying to emulate what's happening around the world. Like I keep saying, we're not the first people to play football in the world. So there's no point us being here trying to figure out what to do. So when I was going to school in the UK and I was playing for the club, I saw that besides my regular football club that I was playing for, the same club used to go and enter into 5-a-side games and other little leagues and stuff like that. So I'm trying to do the same thing in Ghana. So what I did was, my club, we have our training days and training times, and we train. But I picked one day of the week where we like got this like really cool AstroTurf pitch. And then we said that anybody who wants to play football, anybody, girl, well, we started with girls, but eventually boys started to come. But like any girl who wants to play football should just show up, get kitted, and let's just play like a 5-a-side match. And it got so huge and so crazy that boys started joining, the boys wanted to play. And it got to a point where we are playing a girls 5-a-side match. And there's so many teams that some of the teams don't have like enough players on it. And we had to call in the guys like, please come and join, because we can't keep leaving these girls on the bench. And we can't keep playing in such a way that people don't get enough time on the pitch. So it became something really huge. And my club is the only club that is doing that, unfortunately. I've heard this rumor that was going around with the girls' football that they don't want people to come and play for my club because we might poach their players. And I'm like, it's not a competition. We are here to have fun. I have enough girls on my team and they can't even get into first team. We're not going to poach your players. And it's been something that other club owners have told their players to be wary of. But we're not trying to poach anybody. We just want to have fun. I want to create an environment where people are happy to have fun. And that's what we're trying to do. But we don't really have per se little leagues or five-a-side stuff. They do that for the boys, but not for the girls. But I am going to make it a big thing because it's not everybody who can play in a club who can play like 11v11. And those days where we play those, we only play. Sometimes we have to even move it to like 11 and 9v9 or 7v7 because if we play the five-a-side, some people will never get a 10 to play. So we're trying to see the various types that we can do. But I mean, we are doing this to ensure that a lot of girls get a lot of playing time, and then people can like do something about their careers. So yeah,
That's dope. That's
Yeah.
really dope.
yeah,
So as Cleo has kind of pointed out, you know, team ownership isn't easy.
yeah,
And that's on every level. So even over in the UK, you look at what's going on in the Championship and League One. There's a lot of ownership shenanigans happening.
Yeah.
So we're going to run down a couple of them. One of the big ones was Wigan Athletic
Yeah.
being sold
yeah,
like 19 months ago, and then being sold again like within a
Yeah.
week, and then going into administration. So they were formerly the epitome of traditional football club ownership. They had a wealthy owner who loved football. He sold the
Yeah.
club to a Hong Kong-based company called International Entertainment Corporation,
Yeah.
which is registered in the Cayman Islands.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's me. Sorry. Yeah.
This company's registered in the Cayman Islands. That's the first red flag, right?
Yeah.
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 which is a tax haven, and it runs casinos in Manila, Philippines.
Yeah.
So the club announced a takeover on June 4th by Next Leader Fund, which is another Hong Kong based company that's also registered in the Caymans.
Yeah.
So initially, this Hong Kong businessman, Dr. Choi Chiu Fai Stanley, apologies for the pronunciation. He's the chairman of IEC, and he owns more than 50% of both the seller, which is IEC, and the buyer, NLF, which is clearly a conflict of interest there, right? And then on June 24th, Oh Young, initially, who was a minority owner and shareholder of NLF, was stated to have become the owner of more than 75% of NLF, and is thought to now be the 100% owner. So he completed a full takeover of the club from IEC. So the facts are set out that in the middle of the coronavirus crisis, while football was shut down and many clubs, feared going out of business, Oh Young decided to buy Wigan, a club which even in normal times loses millions of dollars, or millions of pounds. So at first in partnership with Choi, but then he paid out the 17.5 million pounds, and he gave IEC more than they paid for the club. So basically gave IEC, bought the club, and provided a profit for IEC. And he also ensured that their 24 million pound debt, or their loan, was repaid. But then on the day he took ownership of the club with a total purchase price of 41 million, he decided not to fund it, which put the club in administration. And initially losing the 17.5 and probably the 24 million too. So now Wigan is in administration purgatory. So we don't know. Sounds like some fishy stuff going on. I want to get you guys' reaction to this and kind of thoughts on what you think could be happening in this situation.
What do you think, Cleo? You're the owner.
Well, I think owning a football club in the UK is like completely different from what's happening here in Ghana. I think that we have it easy. There are a lot of things happening in the background that you don't really see. And there are a lot of reasons why people do certain things that they do, which you probably won't hear about till something pops up. So I don't really understand what was happening with all of that. I can't really fathom why all of that happened. But I don't even know what to say about this situation. But there have been, what club was that? I think a few years ago, go sold for like £1 or something. It was Portsmouth or something like that. It happens a lot in the UK. And football is very difficult, especially when you drop from the Premier League. It's most of the clubs that are in that situation right now are clubs that have actually dropped from the Premier League. I guess it's the expectations that they put onto themselves. Because once you own a football club, you put down your expectations, right? Between the next 5 years, from now to the next 5 years, we are going to be maybe like a mid-league table team or whatever, and then maybe like a European playing team or something. And you buy the players that you want to buy to get you there. You do the things that you have to do. You get the stadium that you have to get, the stuff that you need to get. And the next thing you know, you've overextended yourself and then you're on the way down. And then when the club doesn't succeed in doing any of those targets, then you are out of the league as well. So it gets difficult and it puts these people in the situation where there's a lot of expectations coming, not just from within the club, but the fans as well. And in the UK, the fans have a huge say in what people do. I think you know the story about how MK Dons came about because they were MK Dons, I think, came out from Wimbledon or the other way around. I don't know which one was which, but there was a club.
Wimbledon first.
Yeah, and then they split up and then went to Milton Keynes and then they created MK Dons. And it was the fans that did that. So in the UK, the fans don't play around with their football at all. I think that's on several occasions, Arsenal fans have tried to buy the club. I don't think that any of them is rich enough for that, but but they've tried to do it on several occasions, and that shows like the passion that people have for their football club. And I really don't understand what that Wigan thing was about, but I'm pretty sure that if they had good intentions, they had good intentions, or unless something happened for them to cut that out. But it will be a real mess to find yourself in a situation like that as a club owner. It's going to be like a real mess.
Yeah.
So,
all right, so to that point, you mentioned good intentions.
Yeah.
Word on the street is that there was a bet. So keep in mind, IEC runs casinos in Manila, right?
Yeah.
So there's a bet out that Wigan would be relegated.
Yeah.
And O Young, the guy who purchased Wigan, has ties to this gaming.
Yeah.
So we don't know if it's his bet or whose bet it was, but there's a bet that Wigan would be relegated. And since they went into administration, they automatically were relegated.
Yeah.
So there's some other things at play here. You know, I thought that's a bigger issue.
So he lost
the bet, by the way.
Million, but he made it on the back end.
Exactly.
Do you know how much the bet was? If there was a bet.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the rumor. That's what's kind of being floated around. And if that's the case, that's horrible. Like, because imagine those fans. Like, you know, they bleed for their club, and there's people, rich people playing around with it just for bets.
Yeah, it happens when you're so filthy rich. You just bet entire clubs and leagues. So I wouldn't put it past them to do something like that. People are finding all sorts of ways to make money. So
that's what's good about, you know, ownership groups in the States and like having like kind of league protocol, because they don't just let anybody become an owner. You have to like meet a certain criteria, and like once they saw like, all right, you own a casino that takes sports bets,
exactly.
Nah, that's too fishy. Like, we're not even talking about the Cayman connection.
Yeah,
we're not even talking about like the ownership within two organizations, and you're on the buy and sell side. Yeah. So like simple things like that, they wouldn't even respond to the email or pitch if that happened in the States. I
think that for the UK, they are so engrossed in football that anybody who bring money, they most of the time be like, all right, okay, you're coming to save us. I don't care where you're coming from, what you're doing, just do something. Because it's crazy what's happened with Roman Abramovich, because this guy owns one of the biggest clubs in the UK. I'm going to go ahead and say the biggest club in the UK because I can. Nobody's going to stop me from doing that.
For the last Chelsea's been the best UK club in the 21st
century. In the 21st century, and it's a fact. And he hasn't been allowed in the UK for like close to 2 years now. Yet they are still taking his money. They're like, we don't want you, but can you keep owning Chelsea and pumping money into the system? And that's what it is. It kind of sounds like they're just in it for the money. Look at what happened with Man City and what's about to happen with Newcastle. I know we'll discuss that. But it kind of feels to me like they are just in it for the money. They've reached the stage where they are past this thing being about talent or passion or whatever it is. It's like, how can we make this the most expensive and rich league in the world? And that's what it looks like now. So anybody, who knows who else was even in on that bet that we haven't even heard about, if there was a bet. But yeah, it probably sounds like a coordinated criminal enterprise.
Yeah, that's what I think happened. Like, it was a coordinated kind of finessing there. So you mentioned Newcastle, right? So there's a Saudi-led investment group interested in buying Newcastle, and they recently withdrew their bid due to COVID, among other things. And like they were already kind of at a stalemate with the FA to kind of get the deal over the line. because in a plot twist, that same group or members from that group were allegedly bootlegging Premier League games in the Middle East. So like bootlegging streams and kind of illegally, showing Premier League games, and now they're looking to buy in.
Illegal business to a legit business. Allow, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think because it took so long and then COVID happening, that deal fell apart. So horrible for Newcastle. They definitely needed those funds. They've been trying to get Mike Ashley out for years. And they were almost over the line, but deal fell apart. They're about to have that Saudi money. They're about they're about to run the ticket up.
I know, right? And then they happen.
Sadly, it's not happening.
So I was watching a Premier League game from the 2006 season, I think, yesterday, and I saw my Ashley in the stands, and I think Newcastle had just scored like this last minute goal to survive relegation, and he was so happy, like. The look on his face. I mean, I just want to say that if you knew what was coming down the line, you'd be happier than this, or probably like would have left the stadium by now. But like the happiness and the joy that you could see on his face for owning a club that had like dodged relegation, it was so good to now see the time where they want him out. It's like football is like crazy, man. It's difficult to like own clubs these days. Anyway, you see the Glacier family, and then the owners of Arsenal as well. Every day there's talk of them selling the club. Every day it's crazy to like own a football club in Ghana. I mean in the UK. I think that probably the only people who have not had any stake in the category of rich people is probably like City. I don't think that we've had a peep from any City fan about getting rid of their owners. And I don't know if maybe that's the model that we should all be going by or something, but I don't know what you guys think about that.
Well, I mean, City invests, right? They'll do anything to invest in their club.
It helps,
short of being banned from Champions League, they'll do anything to invest. So as long as they're pumping money into the club, I think the fans will be happy. As long as they can buy top players, the fans will be happy. And a lot of the issues with the Glazers and with the Cronkies is they're not putting any money into the club, or they're mismanaging the funds, or they're using the funds for other things. Like Kroenke, for example, owns like 5 other teams. So, and he's a real estate guy. So real estate is his main business, not sports. So ownership of the Emirates, and then Arsenal is the product that generates income for the Emirates. That's his model. Like I don't think a lot of people like realize that. He just built a new stadium in Los Angeles. That the product is the Los Angeles Rams. That's going to generate the income for this real estate property that he has. So we can't expect really anything from Kroenke. Me as an Arsenal fan,
on a tangent with
as a long-suffering Arsenal fan,
but I think that probably City is probably like the happiest fund, like the fans are like the happiest in terms of ownership, because the last time I had a peep from City fans about ownership was when their club was purchased 15 years ago or something. I don't think I've heard anything again. So I guess they're happy. So good for them. Yeah.
So speaking of investment, we were just talking about some American investors. American investors are starting to they're starting to wander their eye away from the UK into Italy now. So they have a plan. So we say Wall Street. When we say Wall Street, we mean like investment firms. Has a plan to remove racism from Italian soccer. So these investors say tackling the overt racism in the stands would help make Serie A as valuable as the English Premier League. So they're beginning to see a lot of American investment firms putting money into Serie A teams. You got Fiorentina, Roma. What's another one that just recently? AC Milan just took some American ownership dollars.
Even Serie A as a whole league. They're trying to get the whole TV rights.
So potential investors have valued Serie A as much as 13 billion euros, which is about 15.4 billion US dollars. This is a report by Bloomberg, Advid International, Bain Capital, Sinvin Limited, CVC Capital Partners. I think Redbird, among others, have expressed interest in buying minority stake holding in the league itself. So I didn't even know you could do this, but they wanted to buy a minority stake in the league itself. So one important ingredient to this is turning around Serie A, which will be drawing higher. Turning around Serie A is drawing higher offers for television rights. So England's top league makes about 3.5 billion euros from broadcasting. And that was in 2018-19.
Yeah.
Compared to around 1.5 billion in Italy. So according to Deloitte, monkey chants in the crowd aren't good for business, So so Serie A has a commercial potential as an international brand, but it's tainted by the racism that's, ingrained in the supporter culture in their league. So overseas streaming, so let me see, digital.
Yeah.
So So a guy named Yannick Remke stated, that the racism in the country is tainting the league, and is tainting the overseas streaming business that they have. So it's making it harder for people to kind of pick up the league and bring in that streaming revenue. So what are you guys' thoughts on Serie A and their racism issues, and where do you think they have the potential to be as big as the Premier League?
Well, to be honest with you, I think it will take them a while. First of all, you have a league that is dominated by one club for like the last decade or so. And secondly, compared to the UK, they're not even close to the UK, because I think that Spain is the closest to the UK, and they even have like a 15 billion or million dollar gap between them and the UK. So it's going to be very difficult. And also, obviously, the racism does not help. It's like an open secret. It's like it's part of their football. It's like there's a beer, here's some chips and fries, and here's some racism to go with it. It's like they have to be racist. And we've had Ghanaian players play, like Sule Muntari, play in their league, and they've come off the pitch crying several times, and it's crazy. And this is just something that it boggles my mind. Like, why are we doing this in the 21st century? You've been warned, you've been fined, and still it's like nothing. And with that attitude, I don't think that they'll be getting close to getting the earnings that's happening in the UK, especially. If they don't cut out this whole racism stuff, I don't think they're going to go anywhere. They're just going to keep dominating themselves in their little corner, doing whatever it is that they have to do. But I mean, on this topic, on American investors coming to Italy, diverting their attention from the UK, one thing that I wanted to also point out about that was the whole Brexit issue. Because I've forgotten the argument that came along with this, but I think that there are some rules that was making it easy to transfer players from Europe to the UK. And with them exiting the EU, it makes it difficult. If you own clubs or if you invest in the UK, it makes it difficult for you to reap your benefits from the European countries. I think what it was the UK doesn't allow certain types of players. You should have played in your national team. You should have ticked some boxes, which what the clubs were doing was that they buy you the player, they take the player to the European leagues, they use the players being moved around the European leagues to tick certain boxes, and they transfer them easily to the UK. But now with UK exiting the EU, it's difficult to do that now. So then there's no point building up your team or building up stars to transfer them to the UK anymore. It's not going to happen. So what I've heard is that some of the clubs are actually, like you said, buying clubs around Europe, placing themselves in such a way that they can be trading the players themselves, doing whatever it is that they were doing in the UK, but for Europe. So in as much as I think that what they are doing, the American investors are doing is great, trying to stamp out racism in Italy, I think that obviously sometimes when people do something, there's always an ulterior motive. And that's one of the things that they are doing. Italy is the next, I guess, could be the next best thing to happen in terms of football. So yeah, they should keep doing whatever it is that they're doing. But the first thing that they have to do is definitely kick out racism, because nobody wants to play in a situation that like that. Nobody wants to do that. And it's very terrible to have seen a whole Mario Balotelli, a whole Mario crying because of racism. It's crazy. We need to stop that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they talk about combating racism. Do they have any plans for it? Do they have like an action plan or solution guideline of what they like want to do in the sense of like stopping fans, or is it just like this is one way for their product to get more viewership?
I think it was the latter, one way for their product to get more viewership. I didn't see any solutions in the article. What are some solutions that you guys would have to kind of eliminate racism in the Italian game?
Ban them from Europe. it's going to hit them so hard. I don't think it will stop them because the racism is so inbuilt that they don't care. They'll be like, okay, fine. Now that there are no eyes on us from Europe, I guess we can do it louder than that. Or maybe give the whole playing football in an empty stadium thing. I don't know, but it has to be drastic. It cannot be babying them anymore because a lot has been done. Even their own anti-racism posters include monkeys. So like, what are you guys trying to do? It's like they just don't understand or they can't hear it. So I think the fans is the fans and the clubs too as well. I don't understand because if you keep getting fined, if you keep getting warned, if you are the ones getting affected by the behavior of your fans, why aren't you doing anything about it? And it's because low key you probably support it or you encourage it or you like it. Because I don't see if a situation like this happens in the UK, Chelsea Football Club, everybody in that section where the racism comes from gets banned from coming to the stadium. Like they don't even play around with that. It can come. I'm not saying that it won't happen in the UK. It will happen. But the drastic actions they take, it weeds them out. So we've had situations where Chelsea fans have gone to like watch a European match or an away game and they were misbehaving on the train or in and out of the stadium and they've been banned. And these are the actions that you have to take. And in Europe, I mean, Italy, they ban them, they fine them, they shout at them, nothing is happening. So we have to take drastic measures against them. Sorry, Italy. I love you, Ronaldo. Yeah.
Yeah, Ronaldo's trying to make his way out.
Yeah.
I would say it's tough for the ownership. Like if you're looking at the American ownership looking to invest in these teams, they're not going to come in and be like, yeah, we'll take point deductions or we'll take not playing in Champions League because that's where they're going to make their money. So it has to come from the federation. You know, it has to come from the federation. And then from there, the team can act out like, all right, we'll ban this set of fans or we'll have empty stadiums or, you know, we're willing to, you know, accommodate. I don't want to say accommodate, but make amends to, you know, some situations that have gone on. But from like a money standpoint, they're not going to come in and it's like, yeah, we're definitely going to make sure our stadiums are empty and we're not going to participate in Champions League if our fans are doing this, even though that might be something that needs to be had.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the plan is because these investment firms that I mentioned are private equity firms, and their prime job is to buy low, revamp the business and then sell high, right? Yeah. And so they're looking at, like you mentioned, you know, Spain may be ahead of Italy in terms of leagues and popularity. You're looking at Italy as, you know, an undervalued asset. Like, all right, we have the potential here to get in low. You know, we could build it up. We can get the right TV contracts. You know, inflate the league, and then sell it high or do whatever they want to do with it. So it'll be interesting to see what their plan is and how they kind of can stamp out this culture that they have that's kind of plaguing the league right now.
Yeah. I can't wait to see what happens with that. Can't wait to see what happens. Yeah.
All right. So now it's time for one of our favorite parts of the show.
Our best segment right here.
Yeah.
No card, yellow card, red card. So for those not familiar, this is a kind of a rapid fire segment of the show where I'll read off a couple of topics and we'll get our guests, Amobi and Cleo here to kind of give their card rating on the topic. So no card is I agree, I'm cool with it. Yellow card is obviously it's a foul. Like I may not agree, but I don't totally disagree, or I'll allow it. And red card is I totally disagree. I'm not cool with it, or I don't like that idea. So we'll go ahead and jump right in. No card, yellow card, red card.
Okay.
Maurizio Sarri is replaced by Andrea Pirlo as manager of Juventus after winning Serie A but getting knocked out of Champions League. Now, note, Pirlo has 0 professional coaching experience.
Yeah. I'd give it the red card.
You get a red card, huh?
Yeah. It's a fun thing. It's like the ideal world to give the club to one of the best players that ever played for the club. It's fun and everything, but is that a right decision? I don't think now is the time for that. He just got handed the under 23s, and then 2 days later, why don't you take the big prize? It's like hoping the players manage themselves or whatever. I don't know what he's done on the side. I guess they have a reason to trust him for that. I really wanted to give it a yellow. It would have probably gotten the yellow if he had been managing even the other 23s for like even half a season. But he just retired. He just got into football. He hasn't really done much in terms of managing. And the next thing you know, you're handing him an entire Juventus over a professional coach who just won his first trophy, who probably had a lot to achieve and live for. It's a no-no. Yeah.
Yeah, I give it a yellow card. Winning Serie A as Juventus, that's not what they're going for. They're going for Champions League. That's why they made all those big signings. They have Serie A on lock for now. Obviously, it's going to change over the next couple of years. Inter's coming, Roma's coming, Napoli's.
Atalanta is coming.
But they're trying to get Champions League. They've been trying to get Champions League for like the last 3 to 4 years, really heavy. And I don't think Pirlo does that for them because one, he's a new coach. Yeah. Two, he has no experience, and yeah, I just yellow card for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I think I think it reeks of privilege.
Yeah.
You know, I bet you there weren't any black coaches, interviewed for that job. Like they just slid the guy in, the club legend with no experience, and he gets first team football. Yeah. Off the jump. Yeah. Hopefully maybe they're hoping like it'll be a Zidane situation where he can like take them to Champions League glory.
Nah, because I was talking with some buddies of mine, and it was like everyone was like, "Well, Zidane did it." I was like, "No, Zidane was an assistant coach for Mourinho, for Ancelotti, two of the top, I'll say top 10 all-time coaches, and he was coaching the U23s for more than 2 weeks. So like Zidane has experience as a coach. So so nah.
Yeah.
We'll see. It should be interesting. I won't have it lasted more than 2 years.
Yeah.
I hope it works out
for his career. It's not bad to start your career to have someone like Ronaldo on your team. So yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll get to that. All right. So no card, yellow card, red card. Chelsea potentially buying Declan Rice for $65 million. So you two as Chelsea fans, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I'd probably give it a no card because Chelsea have been after that boy for a while, and I think he also wants to come to Chelsea. We're just waiting for like the right circumstances, and for the amount that they are paying for him, obviously there have been other people who we can probably get for the same or less. But I mean, it all depends on what's happening in the transfer window, seeing who's available, etc. But I mean, we need the help. We need the defensive help. We need that kind of midfieldish help over there. Whatever is happening in the back end of Chelsea is like, I don't even want to think about it. But we do need the help. At this point in time, I'll take anybody who comes at this point in time because it's just ridiculous. We conceded the most goals. Wasn't the most goals last season? Like the worst defensive back there. I'm going to pass it over because I think I'll stop now before I start to cry.
Yeah. I'll say no card. I mean, actually yellow card because I think we could use those funds somewhere else. We definitely need more defensive help. We definitely need another goalkeeper. But having a young English international is important. He's good, especially what happens with Conte. He's getting injured a lot more often recently. Yeah. And there's rumors that he might go to Real Madrid. Jorginho, he can go it's going to be tough now since Sachi's not at Juventus, who really likes him. I'll give it a yellow card.
Yeah.
We could use the funds somewhere else.
Okay. No card, yellow card, red card. Juventus offers Gonzalo Higuain and Douglas Costa or Christian Romero for Alexander Lacazette in a straight swap deal.
It's Arsenal, so I'll give it a no card because anything at Arsenal is better than whatever has happened at Arsenal. They've been trying to win the league for like decades now, and they've tried everything that they can try. And Higuain is actually very good. He just didn't get a proper chance at Chelsea. He's good, and Lacazette too is good, but my boy Nketiah is on the scene, so it's gonna be difficult for Lacazette because Nketiah put him out of the starting lineup for a while, and it's not about to change because he's just getting better. So if Lacazette wants to leave or there's a deal on the table for him to go to Juventus, I think he should take it. So I'll give it like a no card. Yeah. It's guaranteed winning the league against Arsenal's attempt at trying to beat Chelsea once in a while to win a cup. So he should take it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what side you're looking at it from, I would say from Arsenal's standpoint, yeah, you get rid of him, no card. But from Juventus' standpoint, I don't think you need like that. Like Douglas Costa's a good piece. I know that they've been playing him less and less.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's if both parties are happy with it, yeah, no card for me. I wanted to give it a yellow card, but it's no card.
All right, well, as a resident Arsenal fan here, I'm gonna give it a red. I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
A, we're trying to go younger, not older. So Gonzalo Higuain is out. He's at the end of his he's at the end of his his career. Yeah. Which is why I kind of feel a way about the Willian thing too. But we won't cover that. Douglas Costa's injury prone, and I don't even know who Christian Romero is, to be honest. But we know Lacazette plays for the Shield. He'll work his ass off. We know what he brings to the team. He went through a scoring slump, but his work rate is more than makes up for it. His work rate in the midfield, him coming in as a false nine, and handling business in the midfield, I feel is more important. And I would rather us continue to build around the young players. So Eddie, Saka, Reece Nelson, build around them, continue to build them up, rather than bring in these higher priced players who are probably on higher wages, which is already an issue for us, rather than bring them in on a swap deal. So I'm gonna go red card with that. Not worth it.
The only comment I have about what you just said is what you said about Willian. Okay. The last time I was this head was when Hazard left. That wasn't long ago, so I guess that's not really much to compare it to. But Willian is a very good player, and that has only come to the spotlight since Hazard left. He has carried the team throughout the season, and he didn't really save us all the time, but he did enough to earn the respect from me, and I'm very unhappy to see him go. But unfortunately for him, next season he wouldn't have gotten a look in, because with the players that we are getting thanks to you guys and what's happening and the players that will be coming in, he might not get even on the team sheet for the day. So I'm happy that he did what he can do for us last season. I'm sad to see him go, but he's going to be a really good player for you guys, because with David Luiz pinging in those crosses for him, if he gets his foot on the ball, he's just zooming straight. If it's at a Chelsea defense, we're going to save the ball. But maybe if it's a United defense, maybe he might just get a goal, because, it happens all the time. But I'm hoping he doesn't get any goals against Chelsea. I would cry my heart out. Yeah.
I'm not going to lose a day of sleep leaving Liverpool. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, from the outside looking in, looking at watching William play for Chelsea, I never hated the guy. I was always an admirer of his game. But my thing is just I'm tired of us taking
scraps, huh?
End of their career Chelsea fan or into the career Chelsea players over here. We're trying to get younger, trying to build a youth movement. So I think he would be good depth. I don't know if he starts. Primarily, I think Pepe still starts primarily, but he's a good option off the bench. Good depth, good experience on the bench. So if it happens, I'm cool with it. But
yeah, cool.
And it's on a free, so we didn't spend any money. So I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
All right. So last one. No card, yellow card, red card. Juventus supposedly offers up Cristiano Ronaldo to Barcelona.
Red card. That's absolutely disrespectful.
Yeah. I give it a red too. But you never know. There's been a lot of line crossing these days.
All right. So what angle is disrespectful to you?
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna let this get out to the press, don't let it get out like this. Like we're offering up, even if they're saying they're trying to like save wages and like deal with that. But nah, Cristiano, like all he's done for you in terms of he didn't bring Champions League, but in terms of like from a business standpoint, single-handedly carrying the team to Champions League with all his goals and like the status of him as a player, like you can't just we're offering him up like he's like scraps or something,
Yeah.
Look like they're trying to clean house.
Maybe Pirlo can handle, dealing with someone like Ronaldo. I could already see that. Like trying to coach Ronaldo. Nah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
And then to offer him to Barcelona at that too? Like what?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. In terms of going to play for Barcelona, it's like after everything you did for Madrid. I mean, like I was saying, there's a lot of line crosses and stuff, but I don't know how that's gonna play out in Spain. But never know. It's happening all the time these days. If anything, it would be great for Messi to go to Juventus. Let's see what happens there.
Messi will not.
Yeah. Cool.
How was
cool.
you?
That's me. I give it a red card from a perspective that they're disrespecting Cristiano's gangster.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's arguably one of the greatest players, and you just we'll offer him up on a swap deal or something like that. Like, that's like Jordan, and that's like Jordan with the Wizards or something like that. But from a Barcelona perspective, if this is true, I would say no card. Like, hey, I'll take him. Him and Messi on the same squad. Like,
dang, that'd be
cheap code.
I don't think Ronaldo would do that though. Ronaldo want to be the top dog. He's not gonna go to Barca.
It probably would be good for Barcelona anyway, because if they're both fighting to score goals, trying to be the best on the same team, probably might not end well. Who knows?
I don't know much about Messi, but I feel like he's probably a little less selfish. So he would probably play the D Wade role when LeBron came to Miami, kind of like take a step back, facilitator.
He could be the facilitator, but like like that's still his team. Like I'm top dog. Like
I don't think he wants to get played by Cristiano. Yeah.
He's getting ready to roll out anyway, though. He probably got a couple more years left.
Messi,
I think didn't he opt out of his contract? Or
no, he just didn't.
Does he have like a year left?
Yeah, he didn't renew yet. So people are speculating that he might join Pep at Man City, but Messi, the way he plays, he can play till he's done. Like he's only 32, 33. He can play a solid 5 more years.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll just like put him in different positions, play him as like an inverted winger, as a 10, false 9. Like, yeah. And if he ever gets old, he could go to Serie A, where they age like 5-1 or even it's interesting. It's gonna be interesting though.
Nah, he'll go back to Argentina.
That's true.
When he's ready to wrap it up.
Yeah, man.
Well, cool. That's it for no card, yellow card, red card.
Yeah.
Moby, you want to go ahead and take it out?
Yeah. So once again, thank you so much, Cleopatra, for joining us today.
Yeah.
For the people that want to get connected with you or want to support, where can they find you? Where can they reach out?
So you can find me on all social medias: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can search my name, Cleopatra Nketiah, or you can search my handle. My Twitter handle is the same thing as my Instagram handle, which is Radjoa, Radjoa. So that's for me. And if you're looking for my club is Ridge City FC Women. So we're on all social media. If you type in Ridge City FC Women or our handle Ridge City FC, you can connect with us. We also have a website, ridgecityfc.com. Everything is just Ridge City. We're not making attempts to make any changes there, making it easy for everyone to find us. So just Google it and just find us and catch up with us. And anybody interested in helping women's football, anything that you're trying to do, it doesn't even have to be financially. If you just want to support, if you want to help the girls with reading material, videos, helping them with their careers, connecting them with agents, clubs, whatever it is they're interested in doing for women's football in Ghana, it will be well appreciated because we are not getting as much support as we hope we would. So if anybody wants to help in any way whatsoever, even if you want to come down to Ghana and have a training session with the girls for like a week, a month, forever, we'll be happy for that. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing what happens with future collaborations with everybody. And thank you guys for having me here today. Hopefully
you.
soon, very soon. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we definitely gonna have something in store soon. 2Cents FC World Tour. We definitely gonna have
something. We got.
Yeah.
We got to take it worldwide. Got to take it worldwide.
Excellent.
But with that being said, that's our show for this week. Thanks again for coming on. Make sure you guys support. Subscribe, rate, and review. It helps us get discovered. Follow us on the socials at 2Cents FC. Check us out on the merch at 2centsports.shop. It helps support the show. I just got the text message, the pictures of the scars that we got. Oh my goodness. I can't wait for y'all to see that. Tweet us your comments on the show. Any topics you want me or Elle to discuss on the show, we got you every Friday, live and direct. That's a wrap. Once again.
All right. Peace.
Peace.